Tim Grover was Kobe Bryant's personal trainer, and according to Tim, there is only one reason why Kobe was better than everyone else. He was relentless. Now, being relentless is a great skill to have, whether it's in business, school life, or sports, and it's something that I'm not as relentless as I'd like to be. So in this video, we're going to be going through my 8-step process to solving problems in life, and we're going to document my journey of being not relentless to becoming relentless, sharing everything I've learned along the way and how you too can become relentless. All I ask in return for all of this research and all of this trial and error is a simple like on this video. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and it really helps me see which videos to create more of, and I really appreciate it. Step 1, define the problem. Step 2, define the positives I'll get from solving this problem. Step 3, define what will happen if I don't solve this problem. Step 4, how am I going to conduct research? Step 5 is to conduct the research. So it's about 2 weeks later. A week ago I finished the book Relentless, and in the past week I've been implementing it and seeing what it's like and whether I'd recommend it to you and how you could actually become relentless. But before we get onto that and what this whole book is about, it's simply what someone who is relentless is like. That's all this book is about. There is a singular sentence in this book that tells you how to become relentless, and the rest of it is what someone who is relentless is actually like. And that's beneficial, because when you know what they're like, then you know how to get there. And Kobe Bryant is the example that they use again and again and again in this book, because Tim Grover was Kobe Bryant's coach. But this is one of the characteristic traits, or this is all of the characteristic traits that someone who is relentless is like. And I'm just going to read them out to you because I think there's a lot of value in them. First one, you keep pushing yourself harder when everyone else has had enough. Second one, you get into the zone, shut everything else out, and control the uncontrollable. Third one, you know exactly who you are. Fourth one, you have a dark side that refuses to be taught how to be good. Next one, you're not intimidated by pressure, you thrive on it. Next, when everyone is hitting the in case of emergency button, they're all looking for you. You don't compete with anyone. You find your opponent's weaknesses and you attack. You make decisions, not suggestions. You know the answer while everyone else is still asking questions. You don't have to love the work, but you're addicted to the results. You'd rather be feared than liked. You trust very few people, and those you trust better never let you down. Those you trust better never let you down. You don't recognize failure. You know there's more than one way to get what you want. You don't celebrate your achievements because you always want more. Now, I know what you're thinking, is this mentally right? But before I get into my experience, I want to share with you exactly how to become relentless. And this book, there's one sentence in it that tells you how to become relentless, and that is all about finding your dark side. One of the chapter headings was, someone who is relentless has a dark side that refuses to be taught how to be good. Now, how can you find your dark side? Because that's the dark side that you can tap into, that motivates you to become relentless, that gives you that unlimited energy. How do you find your dark side? Because that's not actually in the book. Well, after I read the book, I thought that that's the next problem I had to solve. I now know what someone who is relentless is like, and I now know that to become relentless, you've got to tap into your dark side. But how do you do that? Well, it's actually quite difficult, and it's simply a trial and error process. You keep looking for things in your past, in your history, or things that motivate you that are petty problems. It might be you're driven by sexual fantasies. It might be you're driven by proving people wrong. It might be you're driven by this or that, but it always petty things, and that's what the book is telling you to do. The book is telling you to remind yourself of these petty things that you can use to motivate yourself. And that's what I did for the past week. And I'm not going to tell you what my dark side was, but I used it every single day by sitting down for 5 minutes and thinking about that thing, all for the sake of experimentation. And I know what you're thinking. Is this healthy? Is this good for your mind? I'm not sure about the answer for that, but let me explain my logic. By tapping into this dark side, what that is it's the things that most people push away. It's the things that most people don't think about. It's part of them, but they ignore it. And if you keep ignoring something, what happens is the pressure builds up. The pressure builds up. The pressure builds up. The pressure builds up. Until there's an earthquake and you let it out by having some kind of crazy flip. Have you ever seen someone just lose their cool, lose their frame, and everything goes crazy? All of these emotions boil out of them, all because of a tiny trigger that just pushed them over the edge. What tapping into your dark side does, I think, is it's letting the gas out. It's taking away the pressure. It's making a small hole that's allowing you to live out that dark side that most people ignore. And it's allowing you to tap into that. So not only are you preventing yourself from having this huge explosion, you'll also be able to use it day by day to tap into this source of unlimited energy that you can use to get you towards where you want to be. That is the theory. Now, I'm not sure of the long-term mental health consequences on that. I haven't done it for long enough, but let me tell you what happened in the past 7 days after doing it. Obvious one, I became relentless. I had this kind of drive that just pushed me forwards throughout the whole day. Now, normally as the day goes on, I get tired and my work becomes less efficient. But what happened when I started doing this process, when I started tapping into my dark side, and when I had a focus on becoming relentless, that completely disappeared. I was able to go through my afternoon and my evening with the same amount of energy, focus, and rigor as I had in the morning. I was able to do things more efficiently, more effectively, and more focused than I was able to before. It gave me this motivation that made me want to stop. It allowed me to look into the future and look bigger than I was before. Most importantly, I got a lot closer towards my goals than I was before. All of this because I started to tap into my dark side and went on the journey of becoming relentless. So remember, if you want to tap into this energy and you want to risk the possibility of a long-term downfall in mental health, now I don't know the long-term problems this is going to cause. I haven't done it for long enough. All you have to do is think about the petty problems, because in reality, they are a huge source of motivation for you, and they're going to be able to drive you towards where you want to be. Now, I've got to put a disclaimer out here. Once again, I don't know what damage this is going to cause to the long-term health. Now, the question is, am I going to keep doing this in the future? The answer, yes. Why? Because I think that by tapping into this dark side, by shining a light on the things that I used to ignore, it's going to stop me from having this huge effect. And in reality, by opening this can of worms up, I don't feel more stressed. I don't feel more petty. In fact, I feel more relieved. It's like a part of my brain that I was shutting out has now been opened up, and I can accept myself for having that fact instead of just ignoring it like society tells you to do. That's it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, then make sure you just give it a like. Let me know down in the comments if you are going to go on this experiment to become relentless. And finally, if you're new around here and you want to join me on this journey, then click the subscribe button.